Your bank opens at 9 and closes at 5. It charges you fees to hold your own money. It lends that money out at a profit and gives you almost nothing in return. What if I told you there's a system where you are the bank, where your assets sit in a protocol that never sleeps, earns fees on every trade that flows through it, and never asks for your ID? That system exists right now. It's called decentralized finance, DeFi, and specifically, liquidity pools. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how this works, who it's designed for, and what the most sophisticated version of it looks like today. My name is Ethan Cole, and a note: access to some of the site and some of its services are disabled for users located in or citizens of restricted territories. Let's start with the basics, because most explainers skip them, and then people get lost. A liquidity pool is simply a smart contract code living on a blockchain that holds 2 or more tokens and allows anyone to trade between them. Instead of a traditional exchange matching buyers with sellers, the pool uses a mathematical formula to price the trade automatically. No order book, no human market maker, just math, running on-chain, 24/7. When you deposit your assets into that pool, you become a liquidity provider, an LP. Every time someone trades through the pool, they pay a small swap fee. That fee gets distributed proportionally to everyone who provided liquidity. So, if you own 5% of the pool, you earn 5% of every fee collected. That's the core idea. Simple, but the implications are enormous. Here's the question most people never ask. Who was earning those fees before DeFi existed? Market makers, usually large financial institutions with privileged access to exchanges. They sat in the middle of every trade, collected the spread, and kept the profits. DeFi flips that. Now anyone, anywhere in the world, can be the market maker. The middleman role is open-sourced. Now, not all liquidity pools are built the same. The simplest design, popularized by Uniswap, uses a 50-50 constant product formula. You deposit equal dollar values of 2 tokens, and the math keeps them balanced. But that design has limitations. What if you want more exposure to one asset than the other? What if you want a pool with 3 or 4 tokens, each at a different weight? That's where balancer-style weighted pools come in, and that's exactly what UltraLiquidity is built on. UltraLiquidity is a yield-focused, decentralized lending and stablecoin protocol running entirely on-chain on the Internet Computer blockchain. Its automated market maker uses weighted pools, where the formula is the product of each token's balance raised to its weight. That means you can create a pool that's, say, 80% Bitcoin and 20% a stablecoin. And the math will keep it in balance through every trade. You get to define the exposure. You get to define the fee. Pause. I want to make sure this lands. You can create your own pool. Set your own token weights. Set your own swap fee. Anywhere from 0.1% to 1%. Then deposit your assets and collect fees from every trade that runs through your custom pool. That's not a bank account. That's building your own mini-exchange. Let's walk through what this actually looks like in practice. You sign into UltraLiquidity using Internet Identity. That's a passwordless, hardware-backed authentication system built into the Internet computer. No email address, no custodian, no one holding your keys for you. Once you're in, you can see your portfolio. All your assets in one place. You choose a pool that matches your risk profile. Maybe it's a pool pairing Bitcoin with a stablecoin. You deposit your assets, and the protocol mints LP tokens representing your share of the pool. From that moment on, every swap that flows through that pool generates a fee, and your share of that fee accrues to your LP position automatically. When you're ready to exit, you return your LP tokens and withdraw your share of the pool, including all the fees you've earned. No lockup period enforced by a centralized company. No asking for permission. The code is the contract. Now, UltraLiquidity goes one level deeper than just swap fees. They have something called boosted pools. Here's the idea. At any given moment, not all of a pool's assets are being actively traded. Some of that liquidity is sitting idle. Boosted pools automatically put those idle assets to work in yield strategies, so your capital is earning from multiple sources simultaneously. Swap fees from trades and yield from the underlying strategy. And there's a hooks framework that lets pool creators add even more custom logic. Dynamic fees that adjust to market conditions, automated rebalancing triggers, or entirely custom rules. This is programmable liquidity. You're not just parking money. You're deploying a strategy. If you're finding this valuable, do me a quick favor. Hit subscribe and drop a like on this video. It genuinely helps us keep making content about DeFi and the internet computer. And there's a lot more coming that you won't want to miss. Speaking of putting your money to work, let's talk about something UltraLiquidity is doing that I haven't seen anywhere else in DeFi. They issue a yield-bearing stablecoin called UxUSD. Now, most stablecoins just sit there. They're worth $1, they do nothing. UxUSD is designed differently. The yield behind it comes from preferred shares in Strategy, the company formerly known as MicroStrategy. Specifically, their STRC, STRD, STRF, and STRK preferred share series, plus a similar preferred share from Strive. These are real financial instruments sitting in a brokerage account right now, and the yield they generate is what backs the UxUSD return. Once those preferred shares are tokenized, planned for October, they're designed to be held directly within the protocol itself, fully on-chain. I want to be clear. UltraLiquidity is pre-launch, so there are no live yield figures I can quote you, and this is not financial advice. But the architecture is genuinely novel. A stablecoin whose yield comes from institutional preferred equity, not from inflationary token emissions. If you want to explore it yourself, the link is in the description below. Check it out, do your own research, and see if it fits your strategy. Now let's talk about the other side of the equation, borrowing. Because being your own bank doesn't just mean earning, it also means accessing liquidity without selling. UltraLiquidity supports over-collateralized borrowing. Here's how it works. You deposit collateral, say Bitcoin or the Ultra native token, and the protocol lets you borrow against it. You keep your exposure to the asset you believe in, but you unlock liquidity to deploy elsewhere. This is what sophisticated investors have always done with margin accounts at banks. The difference is there's no bank involved. The collateral, the loan, the rules, all of it lives in on-chain code. And because it's over-collateralized, the system is designed to protect itself without needing a centralized counterparty. Here's a stat that reframes why this matters. In 2022, 3 major centralized crypto lenders, FTX, Celsius, and BlockFi, collapsed. Billions of dollars in customer funds were frozen or lost. What did they all have in common? They were centralized. Someone was holding the keys. Someone made bad decisions with other people's money. DeFi protocols built on transparent, auditable code don't have a CEO who can make a secret side bet. The rules are the rules, and everyone can read them. That brings up the most important question in all of DeFi. If the code is the contract, what happens when the code has a bug? This is the DeFi security problem, and it's real. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been lost to smart contract exploits over the years. UltraLiquidity's answer to this is something called UL Mash, the UltraLiquidity multi-model agentic scanning harness. It's built on the same approach Microsoft introduced as M-Dash, a multi-model agentic security system that orchestrates over 100 specialized AI agents in a structured pipeline. The pipeline has 5 stages: prepare, scan, validate, deduplicate, and prove. Auditor agents find candidate vulnerabilities. Debater agents challenge whether those vulnerabilities are actually reachable and exploitable. And prover agents construct working proof-of-concept triggers. Nothing gets flagged without a working trigger. That adversarial separation is what drives out false positives. On Microsoft's M-Dash, which is the approach UlMash is built on, the benchmarks from Microsoft's security blog published in May 2026 are striking. On the CyberGym public benchmark, M-Dash hit 88.45% success across 1,507 real-world vulnerabilities, about 5 points ahead of the next entry. On 28 historical Windows security cases, it achieved 96% recall. On a storage drive test, it found 21 out of 21 planted vulnerabilities with 0 false positives. And during Patch Tuesday testing, it discovered 16 new Windows CVEs, 4 of them critical remote code execution flaws. To be completely transparent, those are Microsoft's M-Dash results. UlMash is built to work the same way, running as Rust canisters entirely on the Internet computer. No off-chain scanners, no centralized security servers. But UlMash itself has not yet been independently benchmarked. That work is ahead. The architecture, though, is directly derived from what Microsoft has already proven. So let's bring it all together. What does it actually mean to be your own bank in DeFi? It means you can provide liquidity in weighted pools and earn swap fees on every trade. You can deploy capital in boosted pools that put idle assets to work. You can borrow against your holdings without selling them. You can hold a yield-bearing stablecoin designed to generate return from institutional preferred equity. And you can do all of this through code, transparent, on-chain, non-custodial, where the rules are the same for everyone, and no one can quietly change them. UltraLiquidity is pre-launch, so none of this is live at scale yet. But the architecture is being built to be the most complete version of this vision I've seen on any blockchain. But here's what we haven't talked about yet. And this might be the most interesting part. What happens when you combine all of this with native Bitcoin and native Ethereum running on the same protocol? Not wrapped tokens, not bridges, native BTC and ETH, managed by on-chain canisters that act like non-custodial wallets living on the blockchain itself. That changes everything about what's possible. And it's what we're covering in the next video. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And if you want to explore UltraLiquidity for yourself right now, the link is in the description. Do your own research, check the architecture, and decide if this is a space you want to be part of. I'll see you in the next one. Quick disclaimers before you go. UltraLiquidity is pre-launch. No live metrics, no guaranteed returns, not financial advice. The M-Dash benchmark figures belong to Microsoft and are cited from their security blog published May 12, 2026. UlMash has not yet been independently tested or benchmarked on UltraLiquidity. Do your own research. Links and sources are in the description.